Hey y'all, it is Friday, November 8th, and I am down in Mr. Willoughby's room, and there is Pandora in the background, and I have a bunch of his lab assistants working in the background, so that's what you're hearing in the background. A lot of you are starting to put the pieces together for factoring, but some of you are still super confused, so I thought that I would do an example. One last example. So we're going to start with a problem on the Desmos card sort that looks like the most difficult. And we're going to start with 7x squared plus 32x minus 60. So we set up our x, and all of you seem to be pretty good at this. And this is negative 420. And it has to add up to 32. Excuse my gum, I just realized I still have gum in my mouth. And you want two factors here and here that add up to 32, but multiply to negative 420. And those numbers would be 42 and negative 10. And that's how you want to break up your b. Your first step is not to do the x. The x is just an organizing tool. Your first step really is to break up your b. And a lot of you are trying really hard to skip this step, and you should not skip this step that's right below this. So the step that's right below this will say 72x squared plus 42x minus 10x minus 60. From here, you need to ask yourself, you need to pair them. So we're going to pair them to factor. And there really is no other word to describe what factoring is except for the word factor. So we're grouping these two together, and we're grouping these two together, and we're seeing what goes into 7x squared and 42x. Well, I see that 7 goes into both of them, and x goes into both of them. 7x squared divided by 7x is x. 42x divided by 7x is 6. Then what goes into that second pair? I see that a negative 10 goes into that second pair. Negative 10x divided by negative 10 is x, and negative 60 divided by negative 10 is positive 6. Then some of you get really super tripped up on this. And although it's normal to get tripped up on this, I can see immediately that they have this in common. For some reason, you can't. So I pull out that x plus 6, and then I write the leftovers. And those are your factors. If this were the test, you would have to set this equal to 0 and find that x equals negative 6. And over here, you would set this equal to 0. And that would mean that x equals 10/7. Okay, I'm going to go back through it. The first thing we did was break up our b. Again, the x is simply a tool. Break up the b. Making that second piece the most important part. This second piece is the most important part. So you break up your b. right there. I'm trying to think if I'm missing some words. Oops, did not mean to do that. Then you pair them to factor it. So when you're factoring, look at what they have in common. Trying to think of how to describe this. Oh, I love this song. I love it even though it's overplayed.
Yeah, it is overplayed, but I do love it. I saw it in concert.
Look at what they have in common to divide it out. But not really. This is what factoring actually is. So if you look, we took that x plus 6, we put it out front, and this is where people think that something disappeared. It didn't disappear. We've changed it from this right here is a subtraction problem, and we're changing it into a multiplication problem. And this does not make sense to a lot of you. But that's what's really happening there. Change. Trying to write down, change into, la la la, it's true, la la la. Change into multiplication. And then from there, I hate all these colors. They're really, ugh. Here, we'll just go with black. Then this last bit, oh crap. This last bit is just solving for x. And both of those answers are correct. And those two answers are going to be your answers on your tests. Okay. Hopefully that helped a little bit, and you can rewind and try to figure this out. I'm hoping. And I linked Khan Academies on both the last two lessons. And again, you have a test Tuesday if you're B day and Wednesday if you're A day. Okay, bye. Try to have fun without me.